I'll just count 4. We're in. Here we go. Top. 1, 2.
It's a beautiful day in Hollywood, and we are sitting outside in the gardens of the beautiful property of Conway Recording, and I am here with composer, arranger, and jazz pianist extraordinaire Bevan Manson.
Today's a really big day. We're recording the second half of my flute concerto. It's a big piece with a wonderful soloist, Sarah Andon. And this afternoon we're recording part of my first symphony, my very first symphony.
Well, I understand that you're also excited about today's recording session because of the conductor.
I'm excited because of the conductor, yes.
Tell us
that's
a little
true.
bit about him.
Well, my friend Scott Hosfeld is the conductor of the Malibu Chamber Orchestra and directs the Chamber Music Festival in Malibu as well. He's a great conductor, and he's very simpatico and empathic, especially with the strings, because he's a string player himself. Mm-hmm. And so he just can communicate so beautifully, and it's just another part of the art is watching the communication between the conductor and the orchestra.
Bevan's music is unique because it combines jazz and classical elements, and it tends to be very high energy and highly melodic. And I think that the reason we get along so well is that I was raised in the chamber music world and also in conducting, and I kind of specialize a lot in working with string players to try to bring the same kind of energy that he tends to write in his music to the strings.
I found a description about you. Bevan Manson is a big believer in bringing live music to audiences in ways that they can experience the acoustic sound up close and sometimes participate in as well. Participation by the audience, how's that?
When you get into a rhythm with the orchestra and you're sitting there in the audience and you're singing along or making a sound or maybe playing a very basic percussion instrument that I sometimes hand out to members of the audience, I think it makes a terrific difference, because all of a sudden you're not just a spectator.
They'll never forget that.
They'll never forget it.
Them.
That's right, and it's fun. It's really fun.
Which did you become first, a composer, an arranger, or a jazz pianist?
First I was a composer many years ago. I stopped for a long time and then I started again. I've been a professional jazz pianist for about 30 years or so. I've always done arranging for different people, a lot of singers and a lot of film, but the composing is my first love.
What sparked your interest? Because you just don't come out of the womb and say, you know what, I want to be a composer one day.
But you know what's funny, actually?
You did?
I did.
Oh my gosh,
it's probably the exception to the rule, but
okay.
When I was 7, I started making up music on my own, and my parents didn't know what to do with me because...
Where did you live?
Near New York City.
Okay.
And I did that for many years, just made up my own stuff, and finally went to music school and studied like probably all of us here did.
Right, you graduated from Eastman?
Eastman School of Music, yeah.
Okay.
And, but I always was writing one thing or the other, and I didn't get into it formally until I was about 16 or 17. But I started doing it then, and I knew that at that point, I knew that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
I'll read a quote from the Boston Globe, what they said about you.
You really have.
They
wow.
called you a superb jazz pianist.
They did, huh?
Yes, they did. You know where that stemmed from?
Don't know.
You don't know?
No.
They just showed up at a show one day and just said,
must have happened.
He's superb.
Must have happened.
All
yeah.
right. I have another quote from the Washington Post, and they've called your work powerfully polyrhythmic.
I think you want an explanation, right?
Yes, I would love one.
Well, that was, I believe, a review of a chamber music piece of mine that was performed in Washington, D.C. at the Phillips Collection, I believe. And it was a great audience, and I guess the critic was a really nice person.
You've composed over 100 jazz tunes and scores for independent films. What's been your favorite experience on a film?
Well, as a performer on a film, and what I mean by that is a sideline musician, that means that you're playing music on camera. And so you have to play, the music might be pre-recorded, but you have to play exactly, physically, the notes and the way you played them so that it looks right. One of my favorite experiences was working with John C. Reilly on Walk Hard, which was a spoof on Walk the Line. And he's a tremendous comedian and very spontaneous. And on the set, he was doing all kinds of funny things with live animals amongst the musicians, running amongst the musicians. So we really had a great time. I have to say that was my favorite moment.
I have seen you write music with a cat in your lap. He laughs, but it's true. I have also listened to your composition "Dangerous Pause."
Oh my goodness!
Which I think is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So, and you also have another composition called "Wild Rabbit." These can all be found on his. Your website is fantastic. And
Thank you.
It's very simple. It's bevanmanson.com. The pages that you can go to and actually listen to his compositions. And tell us a little bit about "Dangerous Pause." And I love the picture on there. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. Well, I have quite a few scenes at home where there's a lot of paws flying around in the air. I have several very acrobatic animals, cats and dogs, and they create quite a circus, especially my long-haired Jack Russell Midnight, who I love dearly.
So tell us a little bit about your website.
The website includes examples of my classical music, of my jazz stuff, and also of some film stuff that I've done. And so anybody can go to bevanmanson.com and check it out. And there's also some educational information about music. One of the greatest things about being a composer is that, of serious stuff, is that, again, if you're standing in front of the orchestra, it's the greatest experience in the world. There's just nothing like it to hear your own music played back at you.
What does the future hold for Bevan Manson?
Well, hopefully the release of this album will be coming up in the fall. So you'll see me around LA playing in the clubs and in concerts.